Thanks for tuning in to Proline TV as we're back following a week off, the All-Star race. I know there were some fans who seemed to enjoy it, so to each his own. But we're off to another regular season race, the Coke 600 tomorrow. Actually, more than 24 hours from now. We're recording this about an hour following qualifying and practice at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Coke 600. All right, so what we're going to do is start off by actually taking a look at practice. And we're going to do this because qualifying is so much more important. So we're going to save that for last. And if you were with us with our show earlier this week, CJ Wadoon and I, we explained how important qualifying is at this track. Matter of fact, if you look at it, qualifying since COVID, over the last 4 races, they've only had 1 race a year since then, has been extremely important. And so to go over that trend, that very important trend, unfortunately, that trend might not come into play this particular season tomorrow. And that makes it a little bit tougher. So anyway, let's take a look at practice, okay? The things that stick out here in practice, oh, wow, look at this. Big surprise, Carson Hocevar, top 10 practice. Okay. So we're not, and look, Michael McDowell, top 10 practice. Okay. So we're used to that. The ones that stick out here, obviously, well, look, you do have AJ Allmendinger in the top 10. That's a little abnormal, but positive, especially because he actually had a positive qualifying run as well. Bubba got off to a good start today. So did Byron, Chastain, Reddick, Hamlin. Of course, these are some of the favorites, Reddick, Hamlin, Byron. Those are definitely some of the favorites coming in. And Gibbs is trying to jumpstart his season again. Got off to a horrible start to the season, started to come on. It's kind of been slow again the last several outings, but he had a good day today. Okay, but I don't really see anything here that jumps off the screen. Okay, a couple of drivers that we're going to definitely take a look at once we go to the starting lineup. I guess what this shows you more than anything is who's not there. All right, so let's take a look at the rest. You see Stenhouse barely made it. Elliott also. Keselowski's been making a name for himself lately. Hey, Shane Van Gisbergen, top 15, not bad. Let's see. Blaney, another disappointing practice run. Boy, Ryan has just not had it in practice and qualifying this season. Larson, 21st in practice. Wow, what about that? Briscoe, 23rd. Bell, 26th. Logano, a disappointing 29th. And Kyle had steering issues, so did not get a chance to practice with his car. He was able to throw out a run in qualifying, and we'll take a look at that coming up. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about why the starting lineup, as you see right there, top 10, why it is so important compared to practice, okay? Take a look at the history. Well, I'm actually going to just let you know what the history has been because we talked about this the other day. All right. Now, we're just talking about the winning drivers since COVID. So 21, 22, 23, 24. All 4 of those winners and their manufacturer, more important, their manufacturer. Okay, so the manufacturer had a qualifying result. Let's start with 2021. Okay, a Chevy wins. That's Kyle Larson in 2021. He was on. He won. He was actually on the pole. Okay, 4 of the top 6 were actually starting that day, Chevys, and 6 of the top 7. Matter of fact, Kyle was also pretty strong in practice, 3rd. 2022, Denny Hamlin wins, driving a Toyota. They had the top 4 cars lined up in qualifying that Coke 600 that year, and he was 7th in practice. On the pole, by the way, Denny. So pole. 2023, Ryan Blaney wins, not on the pole, but started 8th. How did Ford do? 2 of the top 3 lined up to start the Coke 600. In 2023, they had rain, no practice. 2024, last year, Christopher Bell wins. Christopher Bell wins. Who's William Bell? Christopher Bell wins a Toyota. He starts 3rd. Toyota, 3 of the top 4 in the starting position, including the fastest driver in qualifying. Bell started 11th in practice. So what does that tell us? Tells us that so far, any driver who won the race followed the dominant qualifying day by their manufacturer. Okay, so that's obviously something big to take a look at. Now, here's the problem. As you can see from the board, nobody dominated. Now, the one thing we do know is that Ford is not even here. We have one driver, Noah Gragson. Actually, we have a couple. Actually, it was practice where they were slow. So they have a couple of drivers here, but they did have 2 of the top 8. Okay, so it's okay, but not as good as Chevy and Toyota. Toyota had 3 of the top 7, including the fastest, Toyota, yes, had 3 of the top 7, including the fastest, and Chevy had 3 of the top 5. So they were clearly the faster manufacturers, Ford right behind. Now, practice was completely different, where Toyota was 5 of the top 7, Chevy 2 of the top 3, including the fastest. Ford did not have a driver in the top 12. Okay, but it was practice, and it's more important for qualifying, and Ford had 2 of the top 8. I still think they're way behind, though. That's what the stats telling us, and I believe them. I mean, a lot of the Fords just looked like they just didn't have the handling out there today. Okay, so what do? Well, we can't really use that other than to say, well, I guess we can go a little bit more with Toyota and Chevy, but you really can't even count Ford totally out of the picture because they did have a driver in the top 4. So I just don't think we can use that trend, unfortunately. So it is what it is. Maybe we'll get it back going again next year, but that was a trend that we were hoping to take advantage of today, and I just don't see how we can do that now. So what else could we try to do? Well, keep this in mind. With Ryan, let's see, where's Blaney starting again? Let's pop that up here. Let's see. Here it is. Okay. So I want to, right there, Blaney and Elliott. Okay. So they're sitting there at 21st and 22nd. Now, why is that important? Because 5 of the last 11 winners of the Coke 600 started outside the top 10. 11th, 14th, 17th, 19th, and 22nd. And there you got Blaney 21st, Elliott 20. And you can actually include Hamlin there. Hamlin 20, Blaney 21, Elliott 22. Do not count any of those 3 out. Now that we don't have a dominant manufacturer to go with those trends, everything kind of opens back up. And that's one of them. So that's something that opens back up. Also, 8 different Coke 600 winners in the last 8 races. Okay. Now, that means if you want to go with that trend, you are not going to wager on Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch, or Austin Dillon, or Brad Keselowski. Okay. The other one was Truex. So you are not wagering on those drivers if you follow that trend. Another thing that's important regarding those trends, get this. So where is it? Here it is. So not only has 8 different winners won the Coke 600 in the last 8, but no current driver in the NASCAR series has ever won the Coke 600 twice. Okay, so really it's pointing to those 8 too. So it's not just 8 different. It's, hey, if you've won the Coke 600 before and you win on Sunday, you'll be the first to ever do it twice with this group. Okay, so that's important as far as I'm concerned. It's not a be-all, end-all, but it is something that I think you should take into account. Okay, so now let's just dig into what do we see here. Let's show you the rest of the qualifying results here. Ross Chastain wrecked in his in practice. So he was not able to qualify. Chastain. By the way, you see Carson Hocevar right next to him, 39th. Well, he was going along okay, nothing great, but he was going along okay in qualifying, but he got loose. And because he got loose, by the way, he saved the car. So that's good. He was not anywhere near where he probably would have been. Probably would have been somewhere in the top, I don't know. He might have only been top 30 to tell you the truth. It was not blazing. So it would have been a typical Carson Hocevar kind of situation. We had a really good practice run, but did not have a good qualifying run. Okay. Also not a good qualifying run, as you can see here. Brad Keselowski, after doing pretty well in practice. Same thing for Bubba Wallace, 32nd. I think that's important. If you're looking at it, like, where would you want to be? Do you want to be faster in practice or qualifying? Now, most people would think, well, it's got to be practice, right? Because this is a 600-mile race. Who cares about one damn lap? 600 miles, that's what matters. But that's just, and again, it's some of that, but I can't go this far down, especially when you're at 32nd, like Wallace or Keselowski. It's not like those drivers anyway are having some sort of banner years that you want to wager on them anyhow. So they're not giving you any reason to wager. Kyle Busch with the steering issues in practice, just another bad sign. But I'm willing to stop it right there where we stopped it before. This is where I think we should draw the line. And depending on, of course, what the odds are. Now, what the problem is I just don't think you're going to be getting great odds. Las Vegas has not cared a whole lot when you're going into these races. If you're a top driver, they just don't seem to care what you do in practice and qualifying. They're going to keep the odds relatively the same. So let's see. Let's start at the top with Briscoe, because Briscoe had the impressive run to get the pole. And this is real important because Briscoe, while he has only had one top 5, I believe, which is also, I think, just one top 10 in his career. Yes, in his 4 races in the Cup Series. He's 25-1, by the way, coming in. He's never started. His average starting position is 18.5. Never started in the top 10 before. And now he's on the pole. So that is a big deal. 23rd in practice is not what you're looking for. A little bit better would have been nice, but he is driving a Toyota. They seem to be pretty fast. The question is how much will that 25-1 drop? And I think if you're going to be getting around 15-1, 12-1, okay. If they go nuts and put you in single digits or anything like that, forget it. The value is gone, and I'd say no way. Okay, Larson. Look, we went over this the other day. To expect Kyle Larson to win this race coming from the Indy 500. And by the way, you don't even know if you're probably going to have to wait anyway at this point, because if you didn't already bet him, which I don't know why you would anyhow, you're just going to wait until you find out if he's going to race, because we don't even know if he is. And if he is in contention, he's not going to give a crap about playoff points. If he has a chance with the Indy 500 and there's a shot, he's going to take it. And I think it would be a dramatic decision, and it's going to be the right decision. I don't know if he's going to be in contention in the 500, but the trick is coming from the 500 and to contend in the Coke 600 the same day is just something no one's ever done. And could he do it? Sure, he could. But why do I have to wager on him at 5-1? I mean, that's just ludicrous. So what are you telling me the odds would be if he wasn't racing in the Indianapolis 500? 4-1? I mean, there's no value whatsoever in taking Kyle Larson tomorrow. None. So, and look, his practice speed wasn't anything to toot your horn about. So yeah, I don't see it. I'm sorry. Could he win? And it would be one of the more dramatic, unbelievable accomplishments ever by a motorsports driver. Absolutely, if he could do it. But are you going to risk that at 5-1? No, I can't. I just can't see it. Okay, so William Byron, though, Bowman and Elliott, his teammates, yes, I'm all good there. Matter of fact, CJ's top pick is Byron. I couldn't agree with him more. I think Byron really is the one to beat. And he sure came out and proved it again. He came in with an average of 5.6 starting position at this track. Now that's going to go lower because he's starting third. He was 7-1. You know what? I think you might still get 7-1 with William Byron. Even 6-1 is okay. If it's 5-1, which I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't know if I do that. But if you can get 6-7-1 to William Byron, I'm all for it. I think it's a great way to go this week. Bowman starts 9th, as you can see there. Not as fast in qualifying. Don't care as much. The good thing with Bowman, he has a 9.0 average post-COVID at this track. He also had this big lap races here pre-COVID. So for the most part, this has been a good track for Alex Bowman without winning. And I think this is a great track for him to do that. That's why he was on my picks. He's 25-1. I don't think those odds are going to drop much. Maybe they go down to 18-1 or something like that at the lowest. I think you're still going to get a good number on Bowman. I think he's an excellent play. And even Elliott, see him in there. Let's see. Let's back it up here again. Chase Elliott at 22nd. So I have no problem. Again, long race. I'll buy into it. Chevy, they look fast enough. He's never won a Coke 600. Okay, even though he's won a race at Charlotte before. And his practice speed was okay. He was 12th. So I am all in on Chase Elliott. And by the way, Elliott and Blaney, don't forget, we went into this on the show the other day. If they don't have problems, engine problems, getting into a wreck, anything like that, Blaney in 6 races, okay, not getting into any issues. Okay, now we're just talking about the last 9 races. Okay, so 2 crashes and an engine issue. The other 6 for Blaney, he's got a 6.8 average and a win. Elliott in his last 9, I believe. No, his last 13. He's got 4 DNFs. The other 9, he's got an average of 6.1 and a win. Okay, so and we know Blaney's on a hot streak, 4 top 5s in his last 5. Elliott's coming off his best 1.5 mile race of the year at Kansas. And that's why I still think they're really good plays, especially because you're going to get good odds. Blaney was 8-1. That could go up a little bit, but it probably stays at 8-1. I still think that's okay. I think taking Blaney is a smart move because I think this track, the race itself is tailor made for him. And Elliott is also a really good play in my mind because you were getting 12-1. Now you might even get a little bit better. You might be able to get 15-1 with Chase Elliott. So I'd be all over Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney. Elliott, obviously, with the better odds. Okay, Hamlin, meanwhile, keep in mind, he was the second choice at 6-1. So that's the problem is I don't think those odds are going to change much. And he didn't do any. Yeah, he had the 4th place practice run, but the 20th place run here, not what we're looking for if we like Denny Hamlin. And keep this in mind, he's got 1 win in 33 races at Charlotte. And he's 6-1. And he's starting 20th. And he's only led 38 laps in his last 6 combined at this track. And he's actually in the worst 3-race run of the season. Okay. And again, he's 6-1. See, these are all different. If we're talking about Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin at 10-1, we've got a discussion. But when they're 6-1 and 5-1, with everything that we just talked, I mean, it's just, come on. That's what it is. Wagering on in this sport, it's all about value. And you're not getting any value with Denny Hamlin or Kyle Larson. And the only other ones that stick out, okay, and we still have a few more. Chris Buescher is interesting because he was 22-1, and it's the first time he's starting in the top 10. Okay, so I think, considering he was 22-1, I don't think that number is going to drop much because he was not fast at all in practice. So I don't see that dropping too much. So I think he's had a bad long shot play. Gibbs was 18-1. Keep in mind, last year in this race, he was on the pole, led 74 laps, finished 6th. And he had a 4.3 average in the Xfinity Series with a win. So there's a good track for Gibbs. He actually was he was tied for the best fastest in both sessions today, along with Byron, which is why Byron's a good play and Gibbs is a really good play now at 18-1. Those odds will drop, though, but I still think you're going to get good numbers on Gibbs. I still think you should get around 14-1 on Gibbs. I'd be surprised if it was lower than that. And then, I mean, Bell is obviously really dangerous, even though he was slow in practice. 10th is a solid run. 7-1. It's low. It's not what we want. The thing with Bell is he's the defending champ. He just won an all-star race. It's kind of tough. You don't see that a lot, winning back-to-back, winning the All-Star race, winning the Coke 600, winning this race 2 years in a row, and you're gonna have to do it at 7-1. But he is definitely going to be one to beat. I had no question about it. Problem is, you have other options, especially like a William Byron. And so if I'm going Byron Bell, I'm taking Byron. But look, hey, if you're a Christopher Bell guy, and I did pick him to win the championship the last 2 years, last year and this year, so I am. I don't know. Those odds aren't going to drop at all. It's still going to be 7-1. I wouldn't even be surprised if it lowered, to tell you the truth, with Christopher Bell. I think the other way to go would be, I still think he's odds wise. I would go Byron as far as value, Byron, Bell, Blaney. Okay, no value with Larson and Hamlin. Get rid of those guys. But I got one more to break in with those three. And it was my top pick. And that's Reddick. Tyler Reddick. All right. Now, Reddick was 7-1. Where would I put him? Okay. I'd still put Byron first, but I'm going to move Reddick in second, Bell third, and Blaney fourth. Why Reddick? Because Reddick was 12th in qualifying, which is okay. I'm not wrong with that. He was 5th in practice. What was really good about Reddick, though, in qualifying was that he was the 12th fastest, and yet he skimmed the wall. And it was a skim. It was one where they're going to have to touch that car up some. And yet he still finished 12th. So that means I could definitely see him. He should have probably been 5th, top 5 in qualifying, top 5 in practice. But look, he did hit the wall, and it is what it is. The fact is, I think Reddick is a solid play, 7.7 average in all of his races at Charlotte. And the only thing that I am concerned with Reddick, and this is a big concern, he's a streaky driver, sort of like Ryan Blaney. We've talked about this many times in that circumstance. And when Reddick is not going well, it's usually not the time to take him, especially at 7-1. But everything else says take him. I just don't like where he is right now. That's the thing that bothers me the most, and why, maybe even going with Christopher Bell would have been normally the way to go if it wasn't for him coming off the All-Star race and also winning this race last year. And the last driver to talk about is Ricky Stenhouse. And I really do like the fact, even though he wasn't top 10 in either session, I like the fact that he was 11th in both sessions. So I like that a lot. And that is because if you look at Ricky Stenhouse, who's having a really good year, he's 14th in points, that I just get the feeling that, he is one really good day away in a race. If he just keeps this up, that he is going, because nobody's talking about him, even though he's 14th in points, he's going to be like, hey, look at me. I'm having a good season here, but he's got to go out and win a race. And I think he could do it here. And the reason I think he could do it here is his last 10 average at Charlotte is 12.8. And that includes a 31st last year. Okay, it was 10.8 before last year. He has 8 top 15s in his last 10 races at Charlotte, including 5 top 10s and 2 top 5s. It's clearly been his best track. And throw in the fact that you're getting 55-1 on Tuesday. Now, I did not take him as my official long shot. Who did I have for my official long shot? I think it was Bowman. I think Bowman ended up my official long shot. No, Chastain did. Chastain was my official long shot. That doesn't look too good right now. Stenhouse, I should have taken Stenhouse, but I already put money on him. And by the way, this is why I couldn't believe that when I checked the odds on Stenhouse after we did the show on Tuesday, that he was 250-1 at my sports book. I was floored. I said, normally I would just put like $1 on someone like that. I mean, why do I have to spend more money? Hey, if 250, I'll take that. But I said, you know what? I'm going to throw $4 on him. I mean, that's just, why not? I don't think you're getting 250-1 today. I don't know what sports book you're on, but Ricky Stenhouse deserves to be somewhere like he was, and still at 55-1. That's where he deserves to be, somewhere. Actually, I think he should be probably somewhere around 40-50-1. I think that's where the numbers are even going to be on my sports book, because I can't believe anybody didn't take advantage of that. But anyway, I think he's also an interesting driver to keep an eye on, especially as a long shot. So that's going to wrap it up. Let us know if you have any questions, comments, anything like that. Subscribe to the channel. That is very important for us here. We would really appreciate that. We get some good traffic for this report. Not enough subscribers. So very important to subscribe, because the more you subscribe, basically it tells us that you enjoy what we do. You want us to keep doing what we do, and then we'll do it. Because we can't keep doing this all the time if we don't get the response that we're looking for, that we need, because we have a lot of other programming and content that we could be doing that does get more subscribers. So, hey, if you haven't subscribed before, please do that. Takes nothing to subscribe. You don't receive emails, spam. It doesn't cost you anything. Just a very simple process. And you can also like the videos and share them too. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again early next week. What are we doing next week? What's the race next week? I forget what's. Is that Nashville? I believe it's Nashville. I think something like that. I think it's Nashville, Michigan, I think. And link in the description. You can find out Kevin Rogers' picks that posted earlier today on the channel. And also a link in the description for CJ's DFS report from RotoWire. And if you haven't watched it yet, our show earlier in the week when we went through this entire field and talked everything about the Coke 600, as well as, don't forget, Monaco tomorrow morning. We previewed that race, and the Indy 500. We also previewed that race, so you can check that out. All of those videos here on Proline TV. And thanks for tuning in once again, and we'll see you next time.